Welcome to the California Department of Education Integrated and Designated English Language Development Transitional Kindergarten through Grade 12 video series. Designated English Language Development, building into and from science in Grade 4. In this lesson, the students are learning, reviewing, and practicing listening, speaking, reading, and writing to exchange information and ideas that build the language resources necessary to accurately explain a sequential process exhibiting access to grade-level content. The focal California English Language Development Standards driving this lesson. The English Language Development Standards at the bridging level are Grade 4, Part 1, Standard 1, Exchanging Information and Ideas, where students contribute to class, group, and partner discussions, including sustained dialogue, by following turn-taking rules, asking relevant questions, affirming others, adding relevant information, building on responses, and providing useful feedback. Grade 4, Part 1, Standard 6A, Reading and Viewing Closely, where students describe ideas, phenomena, and text elements in detail based on close reading of a variety of grade-level texts with light support. And Grade 4, Part 2, Standard 2B, Understanding Cohesion, where students apply increasing understanding of how ideas, events, or reasons are linked throughout a text using an increasing variety of academic connecting and transitional words or phrases to comprehending texts and writing cohesive texts. Watch how students move from early levels of proficiency toward the bridging levels of these English language development standards throughout the lesson. The supporting California Next Generation Science Standards used in tandem with the focal English language development standards. The science performance expectation is Grade 4, Earth and Space Science 3, Subitem 1, Earth and Human Activity, where students who demonstrate understanding can obtain and combine information to describe that energy and fuels are derived from natural resources and their uses affect the environment. Watch for how this California Science Standard is addressed throughout the lesson. Watch how the teacher leads the students in activities that move them to expand and enrich their explanation of how solar panels work, using newly learned language structures through scientific discussion. Watch the students first read, identify, and discuss the purpose of sequential connectives in an explanation text.
Now, we are looking at, if you remember, our explanation genre, okay? And we have our purpose, structure, language, feature. Show me genre. What genre are we doing? Explanation. A purpose of an explanation, okay? The purpose of an explanation is to understand the sequence of events. So let's do that together. To understand the sequence of events. Good. Show me structure. What does structure look like? Structure. What is the structure of an explanation text? To explain something in a sequence of events. Good. And then the language feature we want to pull out and really focus on, what's that language feature? Sequential connectives. Okay? So in order for us to have this explanation genre, we got to have all these pieces. We're looking at this sequential connective that's going to connect our ideas. I'm going to give you a minute or so. Reread the text. Okay, and as you reread the text independently, if you notice any, do this with me, sequential connectives that you notice here. And then if you see any, feel free to underline them. Okay, but you are going to talk out loud. Ready? Go ahead and read the paragraph on your own.
To begin, the panels must be carefully positioned to get the maximum amount of sun exposure in order to convert the most energy possible. At the same time the sun hits the panels, the energy is made into electricity. So sunlight is converted into
Now I want to give you the opportunity with your partner. I want you to discuss, did you guys find any sequential connectives that you either notice on our list or that you know are connecting those ideas? Talk to your partner about that. What did you guys notice? I noticed, I observed, I saw.
I saw it is at last, and another one I saw is to begin.
I concur with you because I found this too. But I found another one was as a result. So I underlined it because I thought it was I thought it was one of the connectives.
So the ones that I saw were as a result, because as a result it's like of like it's like giving like a reason and then like kind of showing like how it goes by step as a result.
Get that one, but I got the begin.
And did you have at last or? I already had it last.
So first I saw were to begin, then I saw at last, and then last I saw as a result. And I saw because when I was reading, I saw to begin the panels must be carefully positioned to the mount to get the maximum amount of sun exposure in order to convert the most energy possible. So I underlined it because it was a connective.
I agree with that. I saw to begin and then at last, and then I saw at as a result, and I think at last because it says at last a solar environment helps turn the electricity into power that can be used.
Watch the teacher lead the students to analyze the explanation text and discuss how the sequential connectives support the text structure in order to add details about how solar energy is generated.
I want you to look at this graphic organizer, okay? I want you to talk to your partner. What do you think this graphic organizer is talking about? What is it explaining here? Look real quick, think. When you think you have a thought, just give me a thumb. Turn to your partner. What do you think this is displaying? What is this talking about?
I think it's displayed how the sun is giving electricity to the solar panels, then the inverter is storing the electricity, then using the electricity for the household appliances.
It's like describing of like how energy is like could go to like a house where people could use.
Yeah, how energy is used here, okay? And more importantly, how energy is used through what? Our solar panels, our solar energy, okay? Our unit was all about solar energy, so we want to know, how do we create this solar energy? There's a sequence of events. There's an order here that we have to follow in order to get that energy. So let's look at our first picture here. I want you to look in your text, your paragraph. What sentence, what text evidence do you see here that talks about what's going on in the first picture? So you're gonna have to read in your head a little bit. Give you thinking time. Or maybe you already know what this picture is describing. Talk to your partner. What step do you think this picture is describing? You can use your text evidence if you need to. Go ahead.
I agree, but I would like to add on. It's like the sun hit like giving the solar power. I mean the solar panels energy or something.
I agree with you, but I would like else. I think I know what you were gonna say. So like you were saying, like the sun is like giving energy to the solar panels instead of the like solar panel giving like the energy to the sun. So yeah, I think you messed up right there. So that's why you shot that the sun was giving energy to the solar panel.
Oh, let's connect it to the text. What sentence in the text is talking about that same idea Edgar just pulled out? Look really quick. in the text, what sentence is talking about that? I'll read it with you. You can tell me to stop if you think this is the text. Now that we've learned how sunlight is converted into electricity, how do we actually make use of it? A solar panel is made up of groups of solar cells. Remember, solar cells make sunlight into electricity. To begin, the panels must be carefully positioned to get the maximum amount of sun exposure in order to convert the most energy possible. Stop. What do you see, Edgar?
To begin, the panels must be carefully
Positioned.
positioned to get the maximum amount of the sun
Exposure. So if I want to put that in words, what sequential connective did they use in the text? To begin. Look at your list. Is there another word that I can use besides to begin that means the same thing? Look at your list of connectives. Is there anything else we can use to start our process off besides to begin? Kimberly, what do you think?
Initially?
Initially also means to begin. I love that. So in your box, let's write that. Initially what? What's going on here? Initially, what's going on here? Initially, Osvaldo, what was going on here, bud?
What was going on was the panels must be carefully
Positioned.
positioned to get the maximum amount of solar
Sun exposure. In order to convert the most
energy possible.
awesome. That sentence is used there, but I don't want to copy it word for word. I kind of want to put it in my own words. That's the challenge here, is how do I turn that into my own words? So if I'm looking at it, I'm going to say the panels must be carefully positioned. Everyone do this, positioned. Position is where you place something, okay? I'm going to position the notebook here. Well, I want to position it this way. It's where you place it, okay? So if I want to say that, I'm going to say initially the panels are, can I use another word besides positioned? How about the word placed? Initially the panels are placed I'm gonna look back at that sentence. To get
the most energy possible.
To get the most, not energy, what are they receiving the most of?
Sun.
The most sunlight, I like that, Vanessa. To get the most sunlight, to receive what from the sunlight? Energy. I love that. Okay. And the connective I used here was initially. My group right here, Rosa and Osvaldo, they did find it. They found it the next sentence over, at the same time, the sun hits the panels, the energy is made into electricity, and I gave them this challenge. How do you turn that into your own words? What's our connective here? What's our connective that they used? What word or phrase, Rosa?
At the same time.
At the same time. Is there another word that you can use here? And then how do you change that sentence more? So this is what you're doing with your partner. I need you to find a different connective, okay? And when you found that connective, that means the same thing as at the same time. I want you to turn the rest of it into your own words and add it to your box. This is your connection piece, okay? I want you to take that new connective and then try to turn that sentence into your own language. And you could do it with your partner. Go ahead and talk.
I already then the sun hits the panels and it turns it into electricity.
After the sun is hitting the solar panel,
Which connector are you guys thinking of?
the energy will
Which one? Okay, you
converted
can use that one. And then what would you do to explain the rest? Then what?
Then the sun hits the panels and it turns into electricity.
You know how I know that's her own words? It's because she looked at me and told me what it was. It wasn't just reading it from the text. I love that. Go ahead and write that.
Watch the students apply their learned language in writing to explain how solar panels are used.
So remember, our objective was to identify those sequential connectives that explain the process of how solar panels work. But now I want you to put into your own words, what did you learn about how solar panels work based off of what we did? Just quick 1 or 2 sentences. Go ahead and write that down, okay? What did you learn through this about solar panels? So Edgar, can you read yours? Now we did do some corrections together, but what does your new sentence say?
Solar panels work by the sun hitting the panel and the energy is converted into electricity.
Awesome, I love that. Can I have another person share theirs? Jocelyn, really loud.
I learned how solar panels work. They work by the sun hitting the solar panels, then it's converted into electricity.
Ooh, I love that. She even used a connective in her explanation. What was her connective she used? So read it one more time so they could hear. And now listen for that connective. What was the word you used?
I learned how solar panels work. They work by the sun hitting the solar panels, then it's converted into electricity.
Some of you perked up right away. Which one did she use? Then. Awesome. So she had actually 3 sentences that talked about what she learned, okay? So good job with those today. And next, when we get into our expert jigsaw groups, you guys are going to be really prepared to do the next couple boxes as a team. All right? Good job today.
Beyond the designated English language development lesson, building into and from content instruction. By engaging in designated English language development lessons such as this one, the students are better prepared and more confident to express their growing science content knowledge in speaking, reading, and writing during collaborative activities with peers in small groups, as a whole class, and individually with diminishing supports. Through extended discussions, reading, raising the students' awareness of how English works in science, and writing tasks, the teacher moves the students along the academic language continuum from using informal language about science topics to more precise academic language in speaking and writing.
So first is, initially the panels are placed to get the most sunlight to receive energy. That's in the first box.
What does initially mean, Kimberly?
Initially means first.
Good. So she replaced it, and it had to begin, but she put it in her own words. So she said initially. So tell them what you put after that. Initially what?
Initially, the panels are placed to get the most sunlight to receive energy.
That's a good fact. So why don't you guys write that one down?
The panels are. So the next one for solar panels is, then the sun hits the panels and it converts it into electricity.
Reflection and discussion. Reflect on the following questions. First, how did you observe the following focal English language development standards and supporting content standards being implemented in this Grade 4 designated English language development lesson? English language development Part 1, Standard 1, Exchanging Information and Ideas. Part 1, Standard 6A, Reading and Viewing Closely. Part 2, Standard 2B, Understanding Cohesion. And Earth and Space Science 3, Subitem 1, Earth and Human Activity. Second, what features of designated English language development did you observe in the lesson? Now pause the video and engage in a discussion with colleagues. The California Department of Education would like to thank the administrators, teachers, and students who participated in the making of this video. This video was made possible by the California Department of Education in collaboration with WestEd and Timbre Films.